Granting user permissions to a SharePoint online environment. Now we do have an account that is actively logged on, and here's the information. And this person is the site owner and does have the ability to set permissions to other users. Now there are several ways of getting into permissions. I'm going to come over here, and here there is the cog of the gear, and I can go to several different places for this. I could go to Site Information or Site Permissions. Now I'm going to select Site Permissions, and it asks me to invite people. Already it shows me the owner and site members and site visitors. Now before we get into this, what does it look like when a user is given an address of SharePoint but no permissions? I'm going to pause this for just a moment, and I'm going to show you what the user will see. Now, this is what the user would see if they were asked to go to the SharePoint site and they had not been granted a minimum permission level. And they would get this pop-up, and I'd like access, please. So we are actually going to send that off, and it is going off. Now, it's awaiting approval. Now, I am going to pause again and go back as the site owner. So we are back here as the site owner, and let's go into our site permissions. And again, the site owner, site members, and I could choose to do different things with site members or site visitors. Now what I am going to do is come down to the bottom and go into our advanced permissions settings. This will take a moment, and it does open up a new tab. Notice there are limited access users on this site. Now, if we have a look, of course, I am actively logged on as the owner. Let's see if there are any members. There are no specific members. There is a group, but there are no specific members. Now, I am going to go back, and notice I have this option here, Access Request Settings. When this opens up, it tells me that the members can share the site, and the members can give access to both files and folders. And it also says that I will allow access requests, and that is why that user saw that web page asking for request. I can also set up a custom message, which I did not do. I'm going to cancel out of here. Now, I do want several people to come into this site and act as members. So we are going to go into this members option, and we are going to say new, and I'm going to add users to this group. It will take a moment. Now, if I go to shared with, I only have 2 entries. I'm going to invite. I'm going to invite demo user 1, and it finds the account, and demo user 2, and it finds the account, demo user 3. Now these are your users, and I'll select that, and just say you have been granted access as a SharePoint member to our site. Now there are some options down here, and I'm going to send an emailed invitation. I'm going to share that. Wait a moment, and I can see my users here. Now, one more thing from the owner side. I'm going to come back to the cog or the gear, and I can go in and go back to site settings. And this is the classic SharePoint site settings. I do have different options here that can get me into similar places instead of using the cog for permissions. Now, we're going to pause the recording and let's go back as a user. Now, this is what the user has done, awaiting approval. And we're going to refresh. And this page says I don't have access. And I wait. And it's awaiting approval. Now, there's several things at play. The administrator or the site owner granted access to this demo user 1, but by just adding permissions, not approving a request. This user sent an approval request and therefore is waiting that request to be approved. Now, let me pause and bring up the site owner again. So he is going to go back, or she is going to go back to our site permissions. And let's go to the home page first. So this is our home page, and up across the top to the cog. And we're going to go down to our site permissions. And we are going to go back in to our advanced. Now, once we are here, notice we do show access request option. We see this across the top. You only see that if someone has actually requested access. So let's show access requests and invitations. And there is the user waiting for access. Now, 6 minutes ago he did, and I have two choices. I am going to approve it. And it is sent. Now, while we're here, please note, we do not have any external user invitations. So let's go back again. I'm going to pause and see what the demo user 1 will see. So he is back, or she is back, and we are going to refresh. And then, instead of waiting for this to change, we are going to type in the web address of our SharePoint and see if we can get in. And we are in. Take note, we are on as an active user, and I can see my user information, but if I come to the cog, I will not see everything that a normal site owner would see. And that's the end of this presentation.